Hey guys, Levi here. Just really quick, we filmed this mock draft on Tuesday, and of course, just hours after we recorded, a ton of big trades happened. Thanks a lot, NHL. So some of the teams selecting will be different, but I don't think that the players being drafted will change all that much. We hope you enjoy our take, and if you want an up-to-the-minute mock draft, be sure to hit the link in the description of the video for an article on that. Welcome into the Score's official final 2026 NHL mock draft. Levi Smith, Kyle Cushman, Josh Wegman. You two are going to be taking us through most of this. I'm going to get out of your way because you know what you're talking about here. But we're 3 days away. It's Tuesday right now. Obviously, the draft's coming up on Friday. We've got tons of coverage in the app and everything. So anyone who wants like up-to-the-minute alerts, all that great stuff for the NHL draft, be sure to check our app. Be sure to check the articles that we're putting out. But let's just get right into it. I don't need to waste anybody's more time. We're doing the entire first round, all 32 picks. Yep. So we're going to be here for a second, but you guys have picks and analysis on every single selection here. And we're kicking things off with, of course, our Toronto Maple Leafs. First overall, Kyle, are they taking Gavin McKenna, yes or no?
Yes, and I'm curious if you guys have any question about that at this point. Like, he's a flawed player. He's an imperfect player. We've known that the entire draft cycle. He's also the most uniquely talented player in the draft. When you think about his point production upside, when you think about his power play wizardry, like he could legitimately be one of the best power play players in the entire league. We talk so much about even strength value that we kind of underrate how important it is to be a great power play player. You think about his fit offensively with the Maple Leafs in terms of what they lost most recently with Mitch Marner. Mm-hmm. He can help replace that in the coming years. There's going to be some bumps in the road. It is not going to be a great rookie season, probably with a lot of ups and downs, probably.
Growing pains.
Growing pains is a great way to describe it, but ultimately, I don't think there's a single player in the entire draft with the kind of upside as Gavin McKenna. You don't pass on that at first overall.
I also think there's just nothing the Leafs have said or done that would indicate they're leaning in a different direction. Like, I mean, they made the trip to Whitehorse to visit him. They brought him to Toronto for a visit. Like, I don't know if they're doing that with other top prospects. So it just seems like McKenna open and shut case here.
Yeah, and I think obviously if there was any speculation about maybe they trade down or go with a defenseman, that was put to rest with the Darren Radish sign and trade, of course.
If they take someone else, it's been a great smokescreen.
I think that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. I agree with you guys. It's kind of one of those situations where he's done everything he can do to prove he's the best player. If he flames out and if he's a bust, at that point, that's Gavin McKenna's fault. That's not Toronto's fault.
That's an interesting perspective.
That's going to help me sleep at night if this doesn't pan out in some...
I like the pre-coat for the bust.
Exactly. In some shape or form, hey, Leafs, you made the right decision. Take Gavin McKenna. The one question is it such a surefire pick that he'll have his 72 on the back of his jersey?
That's what I'm wondering about. Like, Celebrini had the 71, Bedard had the 98. Yeah. I would love to see the 72 on the back of the jersey.
I would think so. They've had enough time to get this jersey prepared.
All right, there we go. Leafs taking Gavin McKenna first overall. On to pick number 2, the San Jose Sharks. Josh, what do you got for us?
Ivar Stenberg. I think there's a serious case to go with a D here, given all the forwards they have in their system, and this could be the last time they get to draft a high-end D.
Should be.
But should be, anyway. But I think at the end of the day, Mike Grier is going to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take the best player available, and that's Ivar Stenberg, who can help this group right away. I love the potential fit alongside Celebrini. I mean, Stenberg is such a hard-nosed, like, hard-working player. He was so good at the World Championship against men. He was great in Sweden against men. I think this guy can come in and make an immediate impact and be like a good defensive conscience in that forward group where you have guys like Will Smith and Michael Misa who are maybe a little more offensively minded.
He's such a great fit with Celebrini, or he's a great fit on the second line after Celebrini, bringing that similar kind of conscience. Like, we talk so much about like his defensive game. We forget like he's second in all-time Swedish league scoring rate among draft eligible players, behind only Daniel Sedin, and that happened 30 years ago at this point. Like, extremely impressive offensive player as well. In addition to the compete level, I don't think it's the same high-end offensive potential as McKenna, which is why McKenna is still number 1 here. But I think it's extremely risky for San Jose to go the defense option and skip on, in my opinion, the second best.
I could see them trying to trade down, but if they can, I think Stenberg's the pick.
I think so too. It's a situation where it's like, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches where, like, I don't know, you think back to, I don't know why this is the one method or
here we go. This
analogy I have. I think it's a good one though. It's reminiscent to me of when the Cincinnati Bengals took Jamar Chase to pair with Joe Burrow. It's like, oh, but defense is a problem. Or
you need the line.
Offensive line.
We're gonna score 8 goals a game. Like, who cares about defensemen? They'll figure it out later on. So, and I'm glad that you touched on too his scoring rate in Sweden. We're gonna get to some names on this list where 33 points in 43 games for
blended this year. There's some point totals in that league on this draft board. I couldn't believe how low they are.
Yeah.
So obviously, not an easy league to score, and he's managed to do it. So he's kind of the surefire. That's the surefire 1 and 2. We haven't changed that since we started doing our mock drafts. On to pick 3, though. This is a different one from the last time we did this exercise. That was back on May 6th. You got the Canucks picking somebody else. Who do you have?
Yeah, so the question here, the entire draft site, or basically since the Canucks fired their head coach and hired Manny Malhotra, is the pick Caleb, Manny Malhotra's son.
Yeah.
I think it is the way that the draft plays out here. If San Jose goes D, Ivar Stenberg, I think, is the guy for Vancouver at 3. But Malhotra, I don't think it's an issue with his dad being the head coach. I think the way that Manny is as a head coach, his experience in the league, the way that Caleb is as a leader, a young player, I don't think it would be an issue at all. And he's a premium center prospect who plays a two-way responsible game, who elevated, especially late in the season in the playoffs offensively. He was the top scoring guy on Brantford in the playoffs, and that's a team that had a top 10 pick already in Jake O'Brien, had other first-round picks like Jet Luchenko, who played a playoff game this year after losing in the OHL playoffs. Extremely impressive progression from Malhotra. Premium center prospect. I think he's the guy. I don't think that Vancouver can factor in the family relations when making a pick and pass on him for somebody else because of that. I think Malhotra's the best fit there at 3 for Vancouver.
So Vancouver desperately needs a center. Malhotra is arguably the best player on the board. I think it would be absolutely insane to pass on him just because you hired his dad as head coach, right?
That can't be the decision.
NHL coaches have a life expectancy of like 3 years, maybe? So it would be crazy to factor in a pick this high into who your coach is right now.
There's a scenario where Manny's gone before he's even done his DLC.
100%. 100%. And just the Sedins being so familiar with Manny, knowing like what kind of person Caleb is, I think that plays a big part here too.
I love this pick for so many reasons, but I think the big thing is like the familiarity, if anything. Like I know people are talking, oh, that's so weird to be in the dressing room with your dad and throw away all the analytics and just look at that. I still it's gonna help him so much to get integrated. He's already, got so much experience and probably learned so much from him, but to come in together, I think it's only going to help him. I don't really think it's going to hurt him.
I guess the question, like the McKenna jersey question, is Manny at the draft with his son, or is he in the war room because it's decentralized?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. Yeah, I'm curious about that. But the rise of Caleb Malhotra has been awesome to watch. I think he's going to be a great player for a very long time. And Canucks fans just get used to cheering for a Malhotra on the ice. Now you got him as a coach too, so lots of Malhotras going on in Vancouver. Pick number 4, the Chicago Blackhawks. Who do you have them going with?
I've got them going Carson Karls. This is where the draft for me really opens up. I think Chase Reid could be a pick here. They could also go forward, but I think Carson Karls, the best two-way defenseman in this draft, best defensively, I think highest floor of any of the D. Like he's an exceptional skater, really sound two-way game.
Physical,
physical. He's like definitely going to be a top 4 D. Like the offense is kind of the question with him. Like will he be a big offensive producer, or like will he be a Miro Heiskanen, or will he be somewhat less of that? So
the funny thing about like the offense as well is like his offensive production this year, best scoring rate for a WHL defenseman since Scott Niedermayer.
That's crazy.
Which when the offense is the question, and he did that.
Like junior hockey, obviously getting like a little worse talent pool, but
of course.
still very impressive.
Hey, we're also talking 90s hockey there.
I love the potential top pairing down the road of Carson Karls and Artem Levshinov. Like that would just be awesome.
Cooking.
Yeah.
I think this is a situation kind of opposite to the Sharks, where it's like there's obviously not Stenberg on the board, but they would love to just load up on offense, but at some point you kind of got to figure things out and go with defensemen. My question is, so when we did this exercise last, we had Chase Reid as the first defenseman off the board, and we had him at 3 actually at the Canucks. Is Karls, do you guys both genuinely agree that he's surpassed? Because, I mean, over the course of the last year or so, it was Reid. First it was Verhoff, then it was Reid, and now all of a sudden we've got the top defenseman being Karls. What's the rationale there? Why is he taking such a leap?
Yeah, so for me, like I think it's neck and neck for Karls and Reid. And I think we can get to the next pick as well, because the next pick is Chase Reid, which is a great fit for New York. I think they're thrilled to have Chase Reid fall essentially to 5 here, because a lot of people think he could go 2. He's a decent fit at 3, and he's a good fit at 4.
Yeah.
The reason I think that Chicago could potentially lean Karls over Reid is I think it's pretty close in terms of like their upside. Reid, I think, more the offensive guy. Karls more the two-way physical guy. Left-handed versus right-handed. They've got a couple righties in the system already that you hope to be those top-end guys. That maybe isn't the best tiebreaker, but I think it's a good fit for Chicago
it's something
at 4.
For sure. It definitely
it's a factor.
Plays a part, yeah.
And for New York here to get a defenseman with the upside of Chase Reid, who could be one of, if not the best player in the draft in a handful of years because of his skating profile, because he is like 6'2.5" or something like that, 6'3". And he's been on just this rocket ship of development. Like a year and a half ago, he was cut from the USHL. He ends up in the Sioux, in the OHL, takes off there, and is this really impressive defenseman who looks great at the World Juniors as well. He's going to Michigan State. He's kind of on this development line that we see with a lot of defensemen that go the NCAA route, where it's like a year or two in the NCAA and then straight into the NHL as an impact player. That's a great timeline for the Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's just something poetic about the New York Rangers having a big American defenseman.
American, yeah.
Ryan McDonough, and then Jacob Trouba. The pipeline's going to continue
Not
on to
big,
Chase
but Adam
Reid.
Fox,
Adam Fox was there, yeah. So I think
Still there for right now.
Still there.
Sorry, still there. It just makes
Unless
too
you know
much
something
sense.
we don't.
it makes too much sense. Yeah, actually, honestly, Chase Reid is the Adam Fox replacement. You heard it here first. On to pick number 6, Calgary Flames. Josh, we talked about this guy already as well.
Going Keaton Verhoff. So we talked about Chase Reid being on this type of ascension. Verhoff's been like a little more down. Like there was talks of maybe he's a top 3 pick going into this year, maybe even challenging for number 1. Stock falls a bit. Some question marks about his skating, decision making, but at the end of the day, this is still a 6'4" right-handed D who was played really well in the NCAA this year. Like I think that's maybe hurting his stock a little bit, because if he went back to junior, maybe he lights it up and goes a little higher in the draft, but this is ultimately better for his development. I think he could step in and play maybe in a year or two. And I think I love the fit of having Zane Parekh as a righty anchoring some offensive pair, and then you have Keaton Verhoff behind him on a more of a shutdown role. I think that's how you build a team properly. I love the fit.
Really good duo there to build around your defense core long term.
Yes.
Like the conversation about him potentially being a junior this year is so fascinating, because if he's putting up like 25 plus goals in the WHL with that frame, with that pedigree, how close is the conversation versus Reid or Carl's? Like, it's a really interesting one. And he's a better player for going to the NCAA
100%,
this season and playing there. It's very hard to be a 17-year-old defenseman in the NCAA, so this could be a steal for the Flames at 6.
Yeah, and 20 points in 36 games in the NCAA.
Nothing to scoff at.
And he's not playing like top pairing minutes because they got some veteran guys there in North Dakota, so he's still putting up production in like smaller roles.
The end of the season, the NCAA playoffs was a bit rough for him, which is kind of why it's trended down a little bit. Wasn't amazing, like the blow you away at the U18s as well. Some of the reasons why he maybe slips a little bit more, like some people have him even lower than this.
Yeah.
I think 6 to 7 is kind of his floor here.
Yeah. And then for Calgary, like Parekh, pairing him with another great defenseman, like this, something for them to look forward to, which they haven't had a whole lot to look forward to the last couple of years. So Keaton Verhoff is going to the Flames. Pick number 7, the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, so I think this is a point in the draft where things could shake up a little bit.
Yes.
The Kraken have never
seen before.
Yeah, the Kraken have never drafted a defenseman in the
gotta
first
take
round.
a D this year.
They
Right?
got to
This
do
year.
it this year. And I've got a bit of a different name here. Malte Gustafsson,
Okay.
a late riser in the draft cycle, really impressive U18s with Sweden, 6'4.5" defenseman, mobile, great defensive profile. And when I think of a couple of other defensemen in this range that we'll get to shortly, I think he's the one that has the best defensive profile.
For sure.
I think he's the one that has the most like well-rounded, kind of like in terms of his skating size profile, all of that. And I would not be shocked to see a team like Seattle jump on him here at 7, because the couple other defensemen, I'll just say Albert Schmitz and then Daxon Rudolph, either a bit more offensive, a bit more aggressive, kind of like puck handler types. I think Gustafsson is a different flair as a defenseman, and I could see a team preferring that here.
I've seen a lot of comps to Matthias Ekholm for Malte Gustafsson. I'm
Yeah,
sure Kraken
a
would
more
be-
recent one that I think of is Simon Edvinson, who ended up going, I
that's
think it
another
was
good
6 to
one. And he's
Detroit,
turned
so
out
right in this
really
range.
well, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first, like I said, I alluded to before, a month and a bit ago, we did this just with top 10 picks. This is the first guy who was not even in that top 10. You've got him going 7 now. Do you think it's fit? Do you think he's done enough to really rise?
I think there's he has the profile,
Yeah.
he has the end of the season to have the stock rise, and he has, like I mentioned, like he has the pro profile that I think a lot of teams really like in this range of the draft.
And again, no disrespect to Gustafsson, but when I was alluding to the Stenberg numbers, this is one of the ones that jumped off the page. Defenseman, obviously, but 3 assists in 27
It is
games.
hard to play and put up points in that league, which is why Stenberg is at 2.
Yes, exactly. Okay, on to pick number 8, the Winnipeg Jets, who after a few great years going to the playoffs and stuff, they
President's
fall.
Trophy.
President's Trophy just 2 years ago, and now here they are drafting 8th. Who do you have them taking, Josh?
I've got Vigo Bjork. This guy has also just been on the rise, it feels, lately. Only a 5'9" center, but man, he plays way bigger than that size, doesn't he? Like, he really battles for pucks. He can fight off defenders.
Probably the best motor in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, man, he's really fun to watch. And I think he can stick at center despite that smaller frame, and that would be huge for the Winnipeg Jets because they need a center so badly.
Yes. He proved it in the World Championships, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he has the talent to potentially play in the NHL next season.
Absolutely. Maybe he starts on the wing, then eventually moves to center. But, yeah, I think this would be a great fit for Winnipeg. Best forward available at this point in the draft, I think, bar none.
On talent, probably higher than this. Shout out to Logan Stankoven, who definitely helped his draft stock here, being a second-line center, smaller than him for the Cup winners.
The Logan Stankoven effect.
Yeah, there you go. Love to see it. I love this fit, and I love this pick here.
Yeah, where else? What other mock drafts are they talking about the Logan Stankoven effect for the 8th overall pick? I like what you guys have going on. So we're 8 picks in. You've got 4 forwards, 4 defensemen. So very balanced draft so far. On to pick number 9, the Ottawa Senators, who are now looking to replace their captain Brady Tkachuk. Just moved into the 9th pick here. This looks like a guy who might be able to replace Brady Tkachuk. Who do you got going here?
An absolute monster, Ethan Belchetz. He's even bigger than Brady Tkachuk,
Yeah,
6'5", 230, and he's been that age since I think he was 3 years old. I think is the way that it goes. Look, he's not as mean as Brady Tkachuk. Like, he's not that kind of fighter. I think that you can have that aggressive side kind of progress in his game as well. But the thing that excites me is that he has that size, but he has the skill and playmaking to be a legitimate, offensive player in the NHL. Like, you think of maybe what a Matthew Nyes has done with maybe a bit more playmaking to his game. Really intriguing fit. Had a great season in Windsor before an injury as well, like over 30 goals this season, a former first overall pick in the OHL. I think that's a really good fit in the top 10 here for the Ottawa Senators.
They really, they're so set down the middle. They have some pretty good D coming up, but the wings are just barren right now. So I love that idea. Maybe he plays 1 year in the NCAA. Maybe he's ready for the NHL in a year. We'll see.
I love this fit, and obviously
physically he's clearly
Quarter
ready.
Martone type progression potentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's maybe not as polished quite yet as Brady Tkachuk. It'd be hard for a rookie to be like that after he spent 8 years, but in terms of kind of recouping, if they land this pick Belchetz with this 9th overall pick, that is the perfect return for a guy like Brady Tkachuk to start.
And that's if they
things
keep
off
the pick.
with.
They could still flip it for somebody.
They could still flip it for someone, but yeah, for those of you, I've been on my soapbox since the day that this show started about Ethan Belchetz.
Hit him with the comp.
The next Eric Lindros.
There we go.
Go watch some highlights. This is the next Eric Lindros. I'll be saying it until he's out of the NHL. A very, very fun player, and for Sens
Might be
fans,
like Leafs Eric Lindros though, right?
Yeah, maybe right now, but get excited about him, Sens fans.
You
I'll
didn't
say
say
that
which
too.
Eric Lindros. Some Levi.
On to pick 10, Nashville Predators. Who do we got?
I got Dax and Rudolph. For me, it came down to Rudolph or Albert Smits, who we also talked about. To me, these are by far the 2 best players on the board. Both guys who could easily go a few picks higher, but
At 6.
All these D are, I think, really close. But Rudolph, I essentially went with him because right-handed over left-handed. I think that Nashville might prefer that. A little more offense in his game, a little more vision, maybe a bit more of a project than Smits, but I think Nashville would swing for the upside here.
Led his WHL team in regular season scoring and playoff scoring. Really, really impressive type offensively this season.
There we go. Okay, pick number 11, St. Louis Blues. We just spent a bunch of time talking about this guy, but who is it, Kyle?
Albert Schmitz, Latvian defenseman, played at the Olympics, played well against Team USA. He's a guy that I could see going 5 in this draft. He slips a little bit. Very aggressive defenseman, both offensively and defensively.
Booming shot too. Fun player, really fun
player. Latvian, played in Finland, played in Germany this season. Bit of a different profile type than some other guys. He's a guy that I could see going a lot earlier than this, and the Blues are thrilled to take him here at 11.
Maybe some questions about his vision, right? But I think
hockey sense is the concern
with all the physical traits that he has.
And we saw it. I think he was the only guy that really had any chance to improve his stock, which is funny because we've got him falling in this mock draft. But he played in the Olympics and he looked great, fit right in.
Yeah.
So a perfect guy to come in and I think play almost as soon as he can. Pick number 12, New Jersey Devils.
I got them going Alexander Command, really smart two-way center. I think he's about 6'1", 185 pounds. I think he could step in the NHL in a few years and be a really effective sort of middle of the lineup presence. Maybe some Nico Hischier insurance here, just in case.
Very interesting.
An interesting name. He's think about these Swedes that are going here. A lot of them finished the season really well at the U18s.
Yeah. So and there's no rationale after the high, strong defenseman drafts that the Devils have had to take another guy in the back end. You don't think
they're set
more trade
enough
bait?
on D? Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, on to pick 13, New York Islanders.
Wyatt Cullen, one of the biggest literal growers in the entire NHL draft. He entered the NTDP a couple years ago at 5'5", 120 pounds. He's now listed at 6'1", 180. Like that kind of growth is just like very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking,
I'm still waiting for
let
my
alone
growth.
let alone as a hockey player, he has that small skill, and now he's growing into a bit of a pro frame. Easily the most skilled player at the NTDP this season. I think a really intriguing like upside bet, because he could end up being one of the best offensive players out of this draft, and you're getting him at 13.
That growth kind of reminds me of Beckett Seneca and
Yep.
like small guy hands, but in a big guy body.
And
like,
he's a guy that
yeah,
could sneak up
turned
the
out
board a
pretty
lot
well,
more than
yeah.
we expect.
Yeah, I like it a lot for New York Islanders. Pick 14, the Blue Jackets. I'm glad that you get this pick, Josh, because this is a name.
He's going to call him out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to. There was talks about this guy going first overall.
Yeah.
within the
Mid-season.
last year. Yeah, mid-season. He is now at 14th in our latest mock. He was at 9 in our last one, and now down to 14. But I'll let you dig into it. Obviously, you know how to preach for this guy better than anybody, I think.
Yeah, I've got Tynan Lawrence. I mean, I really like this player, obviously. I had him going 1 in our midseason mock draft. Obviously, yeah, that didn't age too well. But he was having an excellent season in the USHL. Makes the midseason jump to the NCAA. Doesn't go quite as well. There's some growing pains there. Really struggles out of the gate. But I think you got to almost applaud, like we talked about Verhoff, applaud the player for taking on a greater challenge like that. But yeah, this player, absolutely amazing skater. I think he's absolutely going to stick at center. Could be a really good two-way player. The offense, I mean, we'll see. But at the very least, I think you're getting like a Ryan McLeod type of player.
Yeah, that's a really intriguing player type there. Like the concern for me is like the NCAA wasn't great, and then he wasn't dominant at the U18s. Like, but this is a guy that at 16 years old won USHL MVP in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you've got that pedigree there, and again, if he stayed in the USHL, he's probably going a lot higher.
Maybe
than
top
this.
10 for sure.
That's an interesting debate.
I'll cut Josh some slack because that was said when he
Before
introduced
he
this
went to
idea. We
NCAA,
said,
yeah.
you know, there's a world where he skyrockets to 1 if
Yeah.
he's a stud in the NCAA, or he slips a bit if it takes him a little bit to get his feet.
If he jumps to the
under him.
NCAA, puts up point per game, we're probably talking about him at 3 instead of 14.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll cut Josh some slack. And
Thank you.
Blue Jackets fans, or whoever lands a Lawrence here, I think his stock's down right now. I think this is a very, very good player. You're going to be very happy with him, and I think that someone's going to get him, and it's going to be a steal regardless. Is the way I'm looking at it.
So.
Pick 15, we got the St. Louis Blues once again.
Yeah, I think they would love Lawrence to fall one more pick to them.
Yeah.
I've still got them going as center here. Oliver Suvanto, a two-way big center, doesn't have like the sexiest stat line by any means playing in Finland's pro league, but he's just that pro-size two-way type that you feel good about being that third-line center type, and you hope develops the offensive game to become a second-line type.
Yeah.
This type of profile typically always goes higher than
Right
we think,
in this
right?
range,
6'3" center, good, responsible defensively. So I like the pick.
I like that. And so that was probably a good time to ask you guys where your gauge is on really how deep this draft is. If we're talking about Lawrence and we're talking about Savanto going at picks 14 and 15 here, is this a super deep draft? Like, how does it stack up against some of the more recent ones? What do we think?
It's an interesting one because like there's like a group in like that that top 14. There's a lot of players I like. I don't know how many players I truly love in terms of like their huge upside. There's enough players there, and then past like once we get to like this point in the draft, starts to get a lot more thin for me in terms of guys that I truly get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
But every time you say that, there's always guys that slip through the cracks that become like really impactful players. And as we go through like the back half of this first round, there's still a lot of players here that we're gonna get to, and I'm gonna rave about.
I think after that last of the group of D, that's where to me it falls off a little bit. Like Smits was our last guy, but obviously it could be Gustafsson or Rudolph. But that's where to me there's a bit of a drop off after that top group of D is gone.
Yeah, there's that like top 4 clear projection. There's that top 6 clear projection. Once you get to that point in the draft, it becomes a bit murkier for those players.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, pick 16, Washington Capitals.
I got Ryan Lynn. So we talked about that first group of D being all off the board. This is where it really opens up for that second tier of D. I've got Ryan Lynn, undersized but really smart two-way player.
Yeah, 5'11". That's the key, right? Like if he's 6'1", we're probably talking about him in that first tier. Really smart player.
All right, pick 17, LA Kings. We'll start picking things up a little bit.
Yeah,
Who do we got?
Oscar Hemming, he's a guy that had a late start to the season because his move to the OHL was blocked by his Finnish league club. He didn't play until December, went to the NCAA, hard-hitting Finnish forward. I think he's a strong fit for what LA likes to add to the system.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, we'll get things cooking a little bit here. We got pick 18, the Washington Capitals again, 2 picks in 3 selections here. Who do you got them taking?
Yeah, second to 3 picks. I love mixing it up. They get the D in Ryan Lynn, and now they're getting a center in Maddox Desjardins, 6'4". I mean, this guy could be a really good middle middle of the lineup center.
6'4", 200 pounds, point per game in the queue. Definitely.
Pretty good profile.
Yeah, you'll take that, Capitals. Pick 19, Utah.
Yeah, I talked about Hemming there at 17. How about the Russian version of Hemming, essentially at 19 here to Utah? Gleb Pugachev, a guy that's a big riser this year. Some second-round grades, I think he's going to go higher than expected. Just an absolute wrecking ball, very speedy winger type. Didn't have amazing numbers in the Russian Junior League, but Utah is a great fit here.
Yeah, Utah's not afraid to take the Russians.
Lots of Russians in their system.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I like that pick a lot. Sabres at 20 off of the best year they've had in a very, very long time.
Trading up for this pick, essentially.
Yeah, basically trading up. Yeah, what do they do here to bolster this team that they've got?
I've got them taking Adam Novotny, really skilled winger, really good shot, really good speed. I think it's a great fit. They got a lot of guys coming up like that. I think he could be a really complimentary piece for them.
Fits with a lot of what they've drafted.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Philadelphia Flyers, another playoff team. We're getting into the playoff teams now. Philadelphia Flyers here at pick 21.
Feels like every year the Flyers take a center, and they're going to do it again here in Ilya Morozov. Youngest player in all of college hockey last season. Didn't have an amazing season the year before in the USHL, but kind of had like a really impressive season this year in the NCAA.
Got a wicked combine.
Yes.
Like amazing off-ice
and
testing
like
results.
big center types, again, are always going to go in this range.
Again, like I'll say it again, the measurable 6'3", 205, 20 points in the NCAA in 36
On
games.
not like a great team either in Miami.
Ohio, yeah. So that's very suitable, and especially for a team that's just went to the postseason, is probably going to continue to
desperate
trend
for
that
center
direction.
prospects every year.
They need something, and Morozov, I like it a lot. Pick 22, obviously the other Pennsylvania team here, Pittsburgh Penguins.
I got Elton Hermanson, really speedy Swedish winger, can really score. This kind of just screams like a Kyle Dubas pick to me. Like not afraid to go someone a little smaller maybe, but like really skilled offensively.
And hey, you were talking about the lack of scoring in the Swedish leagues. He played in the second tier, to be fair, but he had over 20 points against men this season.
Yeah, honestly, he had some very solid numbers there. Pick 23, Boston Bruins.
Okay, we're going back to those Swedish guys that Levi doesn't like because they don't put up any points. William Hackinson, the Bruins so badly need defense prospects. Like their best defense prospect is Frederick Brunet, who looks like a fine third-pairing guy at best. They desperately need D prospects. Hackinson, again, not like a flashy type, but looks like a good defensive profile, potential top 4 guy.
Anytime a guy from Sweden goes now, all it is it's like credit to him, first round pick we have him mocked out as, but it's Stenberg praise, but pretty much just,
Hey, I'll toss Bjork in there as well. I love me some Viggo Bjork.
2 assists, 22 games in the Swedish Elite League there. On to pick 24, Vancouver Canucks. Back again. Who do we've got them taking here?
I've got them taking, and this is maybe my favorite pick of the draft, Liam Ruck.
Oh, hell yeah.
One half of the Ruck twins, which who better to take them than the Sedin twins?
Yeah.
So
also BC natives.
BC natives,
I like this a lot.
Liam is more of the Daniel per se. He's more of the scorer. So maybe they can loop back at some point in the second round, take Marcus and pair up the twins.
33 overall if he makes it there.
Yeah.
Liam, definitely the goal scorer of the bunch, 45 goals this season.
Yeah.
They finished 1-2 in WHL scoring. It would be really cool to see a team be able to land them, as well as like Vancouver being able to do it. Come
Absolutely
on.
awesome. Like they know how to make that work.
This is an awesome pick. They take a brother, and then with their pick that they've already taken is just a guy who dad played there already. I like what the Canucks are cooking here. Probably means that they'll go to the Stanley Cup Finals with what they've got. They're just copying that formula. So yeah, but 104 points in 68 games in the W is certainly nothing to scoff at. So not a bad pick there. The value that the Canucks are getting at 24. Pick 25. It's the Sens, the other pick that they acquired in the Brady Tkachuk trade in this draft. Who do you got them taking this time?
Yeah, so we just talked about like a smaller, not great skating forward with big offensive upside. Let's go a completely opposite player type here. Maxim Sokolovsky.
Oh, I love this.
Only
pick.
only 8 points this year in London. 6'7", 240 pounds defenseman who can skate. He fights. He's physical.
He's mean too.
Probably the most violent player in the draft.
He's like, how do you not find a closer player comp than Nikita Zadorov?
That's
exactly the name I was
Played
going to
for
bring
London,
up. Yeah,
too,
Nikita Zadorov type defenseman if he hits, of course. And the Sens have another very violent defenseman in the system in Gabriel Eliasson. They use him with a second-round pick, so they clearly like that player type. And Sokolovsky, I think, is clearly a better prospect than what Eliasson has become. Sokolovsky at 25. So then the combination you're getting out of the Brady Tkachuk combination there is 6'7" Sokolovsky and 6'5" Belchat.
Oh my! They're just recreating Brady Tkachuk in the aggregate. Literally,
yeah, Moneyball, big guy.
I love that. I love that pick, and that's honestly probably I'm sure every OHL player from this season could say because it's a finesse league. You know, you like the touch and stuff. He's probably the scariest guy any of those guys have ever played against. 6'7" in the OHL, 240 is that's quite something.
Terrifying.
So, I love this draft for the Senators. I truly love this draft. Pick 26. Back to the Rangers.
I've got them taking Casey Mutrin, right winger, really rugged player. I think he's big, 6'3", physical. I feel like this is a guy who's like 100% playing NHL games, just a matter of how high his offensive ceiling gets, but feels like a guy who could be a middle six winger.
I love this run of players that we're having here. The forwards who are like all 6'2", 6'3", with like close to points per game. Like,
Teams love those player types in the first round.
Yeah, it doesn't always play. I'll say that. We've seen busts happen before at that size, but the upside's there at least. So you can start with that. San Jose Sharks are picking again at pick 27. Who do we have them taking?
Okay, well, not 6'2", 6'3". They pass on defenseman at 2. They're going to take the upside play at 27. Tommy Blyle, unbelievable QMJHL season this year with Moncton, won QMJHL Defenseman of the Year as a rookie. He's under 6 foot, but a great skater, right-handed. I think if you pass on the defenseman at 2, you got to take one of the high-end potential defensemen at 27. Take that risk, and I think Blyle fits it perfectly there for at 27 for San Jose.
Yep, that works for me. Pick 28. We were just talking about size, weren't we?
We were.
Who do we have here?
I got the Montreal Canadiens taking Brooks Rogowski, 6'7",
there we go.
right-handed center. Remember Michael McCarron, former Montreal first-round pick? I see a bit of comparisons there. This guy doesn't have quite the mean streak of a Sokolovsky, but he's definitely playing some NHL games. Whether he's a fourth-line center or third-line center is to be seen. Maybe even second-line center.
6'7" center? Are you kidding me?
And he's a pretty good skater, too.
Really,
like, he
gets around the ice well enough for his size. Like, he's 100% playing in the NHL.
You mentioned like the McCarron one. The more recent like pick that I think of in this range is like the Dean Letourneau pick with Boston, where like his first year in college was terrible, and then this year he really found his groove as like this giant offensive type that maybe isn't the most physical. Like, I'm curious how his progression looks. Like, he had a really good year in Oshawa.
Again, like a team that's good already, you can take a swing on a player at 28th overall and to get a 6'7" center. I don't think I'd ever be upset about that, regardless of how he turns out.
Big need for Habs, too, down the middle. Just get more centers in that system.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick 29, the Blues' third pick of the first round. Who do we have them taking?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because anytime a team has 3 first-round picks, the first 2 you kind of go like a D forward split, and then the third one is when you maybe get a little bit creative or take that swing in the first round. I've got Jonas Lagerberg-Hone going here, a guy that maybe doesn't have like as many first-round grades because he hasn't played since October. Blew out his knee in October, was playing in the Swedish Junior League. But hey, you don't like those Swedish League numbers. How about the Junior League numbers? 9 goals, 16 points in 9 games before he got hurt. The year before, he had over 25 goals in like 38 games along those lines.
Really good.
Extremely impressive scorer with that like 6'3" frame. Can fill out, of course, at like 178 pounds, I think he was at the combine. But I look at his profile with that big upside as a guy that the Blues kind of jumped the line on to take that big swing on in the first round.
Yeah, I love it. Pick 30, another team returning to a second pick in the first round. 3 picks to go here. Calgary Flames at 30. Who do you got, Josh?
Yeah, so obviously I had the D and Verhoff earlier. Now they're addressing the forward group, and Igor Shilov, really small, skilled, highly productive forward, could really be a difference maker.
Potentially a center. Reminds me a little bit of that Matt Vague-Reeden pick a couple years ago that has looked really good.
Yeah, there we go. All right, 2 picks left. First one here at 31. Stanley Cup champion, Carolina Hurricanes. What are they doing to bolster this team?
They have a type, and they're going to stick to that type. Nikita Klepov here led the OHL in scoring this season. Again, as a rookie, really impressive what some of these guys have done stepping into these junior leagues in their first years. Born in USA, raised in Russia, so he has that like dual nationality, but fits in terms of Carolina drafting a lot of Russians over the years. But again, has that scoring profile, power play type that I think Carolina typically takes either with their late first round picks or in the second round as these kind of upside plays.
How in the world does the OHL leading scorer fall to 31?
Because he's an average sized winger who's more offensive and doesn't skate in terms of like high end skating.
For his size,
is this just Marco Rossi 2.0 when he did?
He's not as small as Rossi. Rossi was like 5'9".
Yeah.
He would be more of that Vigo Bjork type.
Yeah, but. Which, hey, again.
And Rossi was like 120 points or something like that.
So many points. I remember that was like the first time I was like, oh, maybe not everything translates.
It's another interesting thing in terms of like the junior leagues and like calibrating how good they still are, because there's a lot of top-end talent that have left those leagues to go to the college route in recent years.
Yeah, very good point. Last but not least, it's the Ottawa Senators once again drafting 32 to close out this first round. The last pick in our mock draft. Josh, who do you got them taking?
And I've got them really swinging for some upside here with Jackson Cover. Oh, this guy...
Such a cool story.
We don't really know where he's going to go exactly. But yeah, this guy grew up on the Cayman Islands playing roller hockey.
So awesome.
He's only been playing ice hockey, I think, for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. really great one-on-one, like individual skill, still kind of almost learning how to
Looks
play
like a
as
roller
team.
hockey player.
Yeah, but like the one-on-one skill cannot be denied, and I think it's just really fascinating to see where this guy's going to go, given his lack of experience. But I think tons of upside here.
Yeah, he's only played ice hockey for 5 seasons. Like, it's really crazy. Like, impressive rookie season in the OHL, and a teammate of who went at 25, Maxim Sokolovsky. So Sen's maybe watching a couple London Knights games this year.
Yep. We were talking to this guy before. Nod to David Levin. That's me flexing my puck knowledge. Who played some roller hockey before he went first overall to the OHL. What a story. Cayman Islands roller hockey to first round in the NHL draft to close out our 2026 mock draft. But yeah, there we have it. Again, we're filming this on a Tuesday, 3 days before the draft on Friday. So if anything changes, if any trades happen with these picks, this is when we're filming it, so obviously we can't account for that quite yet, but super fired up for it, man. 3 days away, we're going to have tons and tons of coverage. Again, we got articles coming out. We're going to have reactions to the draft after it happens on Friday. So for all your NHL draft needs this year, obviously stay tuned to The Score, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like it, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. And for unique bite-sized content, make sure to follow us on all our socials.